since we weren't there.
Investigation, come with me. We're taking A1. Fuck the meeting. The meeting's standard. No one was listening.
Yeah,
That's the end of the meeting.
I'm gonna be 42 in a second.
Oh, well.
What's going on?
Apparently there was a message for Lauren about, something was left at the lighthouse. There's a person, like, bleeding out or something out there. So, if you're going 42, go 42. I'm going, alright?
Alright. Do. All right. Damn, that sucks. Well, I mean, that thing's gonna matter.
Night, we're inside the briefing room.
Wait, what?
We're inside the briefing room.
Raider just told me fuck the meeting. I'm confused now.
No, the meeting's still going on. I don't know what's going on with him.
Hey, what the fuck?
434 status.
434 is 76 to the lighthouse.
Break.
Something
We have a unit
came
go
up.
that way ready. Please send a unit out there regarding the list. No one call. From a fallback.
I just got told by Drader that quote unquote fuck the meeting.
I think that you said that
No one
because
is
there's somebody
listening?
dying. So I see where he's coming from, Brian, right? There's
Is
somebody
someone
dying.
dead?
It's probably more important than
I
a
don't
meeting.
think he knew that Trina was going because I didn't either. I told him to talk to that guy and figure out what he wanted and
I'm
figure
so
out what was going on.
confused.
Basically, he's saying fuck the meeting because he got a call from somebody's dying up in the lighthouse. So he wanted to go there first,
someone's
but
dying up there.
didn't know that I sent Trina up there already.
Does he know that he's an officer? Just out of curiosity.
Brian,
Tango
It's
1
not the
what is your
first
problem?
to 313.
Excuse me?
What's your problem, Brian?
Apparently there's a victim here that got, there's
What do
three
you
notes around his
suspect is the
body
problem?
At my location.
I suspect you're trying to pull rank on people right now.
I'm
Why do you bring
not,
up every time, Brian? Every time we talk about anything, it's always about somebody's rank. At the end of the day, right?
I don't think rank has anything to do with it. here.
I almost missed this meeting after being told the meeting, making it sound like this meeting wasn't happening. Sir, you called this meeting.
I did.
And an officer just told me this meeting was not occurring.
He said fuck the meeting, right?
Yes.
Did he say the
He
meeting
said
was
you need
canceled?
to come with me.
Oh, I see.
So-
Well, you never said those words. You need to come with me.
Right.
Okay, let's just talk about the debrief first. Drader had Trina go up there as soon as I saw the latest 911 call, so she shouldn't be handling that until we're pulling.
I thought cadets weren't supposed to go on investigations, especially not alone.
Well, I mean, we're having a debrief.
Oh, Brian's
I'll
gonna
have
be
somebody else
pissed now,
shadow her
boys.
and talk to her about it and do the report instead. That's fine. I just want to make sure that EMS is fine. And then once we get the information as far as what happened, we'll get that going. Cadets can do report and can do investigation, but they're not supposed to investigate further unless they're shadowed by an FTO or a superior officer.
Yeah, it's one thing to take down a scene, write notes, pictures, whatever, but it's another to be going off and doing investigative work instead of focusing on, your policing and your sign-offs.
I'm super scuffed. Oh, I need
dude,
a
I
nap.
love it, man.
Don't you dare, Wrangler!
No, I do. I'm
No,
sorry.
you fucking scuff it
No,
out.
you stay right here.
I
You
can't.
can
You're
hear
getting
us,
5
right?
strike points for leaving.
25. Just kidding.
Okay.
Fuck.
All right. Nope.
No, I'm kidding. Go. It's fine.
No, fuck it.
All right, so bank truck. All right, what happened is 3 suspects were inside the grid. 1 was hiding in the garage across the street. Are you guys familiar with the 4-story garage, the one with next to the old courthouse? There was a suspect wearing all white, a white shirt. He was hiding inside. He waited a good amount of time. Either he flanked from that position or he was already hiding in the garage prior to them hitting the bank truck. Roughly 5 minutes into it,
I'm going to be
I
in
sense
a
shots.
38 with a vehicle that is very close to the lighthouse, blacked out. It looked like something fell out of their car. Might have been a
There could
body.
be a
so
trooper, a
Occupancy
vigilante.
times 2.
Well, you need to
southbound.
understand from
Trader, go
Ryan's
up route.
perspective that Bass has been jumping to massive conclusions.
Echo 10,
I think as of
76,
late.
Flex Medical, 147.
Okay, so He flanked me from behind, open fire. When I noticed, I called out on the radio. And I know I told Casey just 2 minutes prior to that to go for the opening. They had, left by the box truck and the ladder case. They could take up there to the eastern side of the building.
Yeah.
However, I thought all the suspects were inside the grid. That's my fault. I should have waited a little bit longer to make that judgment call. So that's on me. I made that mistake.
I mean, it's not okay. I wouldn't say that's something you could put on yourself. Like, none of us would have expected one of them to be hiding in the garage, you know. So it's not something to put on you. It's just maybe next time we'll just clear the stairwell as well.
En route to your
To
20.
be fair,
None of us would have guessed
670.
that.
It's not common. Like, yeah, we counted 3. We looked around. Air 1 only saw 3. I checked other rooftops. I didn't see shit. It's common when there's 3 that they got a 4th somewhere hiding with like an extra plan. But I mean, it's not very common that he's hiding in a stairwell across the street waiting to ambush officers, you know?
True, and I should have thought about that. It's too good to be true for him to allow us to have high ground in a parking garage where I can just open fire and bullets from above. So that was
Exactly.
definitely an error on my part. So
They picked the best vantage and was like, oh, there you go. It was good on them. They figured that would be our best vantage
Yeah.
point, and they
That's
hit
what it is.
What I
Right.
felt like is, when it was called out that there was someone there and you got shot and I was going back, then everyone should jump on the opportunity to take out that one person. You might see.
exactly.
and that's what was called out. But
Right.
unfortunately,
Perkins should have
just-
peeled off that way. Wrangler should have peeled off that way. Who else was mobile? That's it, right? Brian, you were on
it
top.
was just Perkins and Wrangler would have had 3 on one guy there because
Correct.
Brian was alone, keep an eye on the rooftops.
And that's fine. Maybe I would have Brian come also, just take every single unit. But since we had Air 1 could have shifted their eyes back to 3 suspect. But like
Yeah,
I said,
So I was the last one to go, as I had those 3 individuals pinned from one side. So
right, and you had no car, so you could be mobile too.
Yeah, the intent was we had 5 other officers up. So I had the southeastern side. I had visibility on all 3 of them, minus the coverage that they had. So I was constantly opening fire on them and drawing their fire. That was my place in that.
Right.
I could have done better. I was in a bad position and I was up against the wall instead of your car, Bass. So that kind of left me open a little bit, and the heavy pistol just kind of ruined me.
That's fine. Like I said, I'm not trying to blame anybody here. The debrief is to basically work on basics as far as paying attention to callouts, listening to the officer who's got eyes or more intel than you do, and following his judgment call. And then afterwards, we can talk about it, right? There's no time to hesitate, and there's no time to question things during the moment, right?
Yeah, no, right.
So that could have been done better. And then the fact that he was able to take us out one by one is what made everything fall apart. So just for the future, even if you see eyes on him and you're alone, maybe wait for a secondary unit to open fire, or get in a good position. That way you're not out in the open and he can just tear you apart. Any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that?
No, like I said, I don't think there's any concerns. I mean, the dude was like cracked out and everything. It was a rough one. I think, like you say, with situations like that, when we know they're going to be cracked out, 1v1, we're going to get fucked up. Okay, they need to get lit up by multiple officers so they don't have a chance to not feel pain, if you know what I'm saying. So it's always vital just to make sure we gang up on them and have
Exactly,
better
right.
numbers.
Also, it didn't help that when this guy was out in the open, I remember Perkins jumping out of his car and rolling down the street a little bit. I got a good eye of that from Air 1, and this guy had a lot of time to run from the middle of the road, cross the street into the alleyways where he circled Perkins and Wrangler. I won't say that we were really going for the 1v1s there, because it was unfortunate that he was just fucking circling us.
Echo
How
10
with how fast he fucking was. But
Send it.
just falls back, in my
Well,
opinion, to the rooftop when he was up
Right.
there.
Right. And like I said,
When we had him stuck.
I agree. Like I said, shit happens, right? We should learn from it.
Exactly.
Have short-term memory loss. Don't dwell on it too much.
Tango
Reform our
176
basics
hotel box
and
with
just
147.
build on it. That way, it won't occur again.
And remember, we're not always going to be going up against John
Show
fucking Wick, okay?
677 clear of that 38. It appears they're having scuff issues.
Well, that guy was a good shooter. I mean, it happens, right? So, Brian, Casey, anything you want to add besides Clarence?
No. It shit happens, basically. We get some, we win some, we lose some. You know, this is the one that you just learn from it. So I'm all good with it.
Brian, anything?
Nope.
Just pay attention to comms, strength is on our number, and if we see an opportunity, let's take advantage of it and focus fire together. That is my comments from the whole thing. That's all. All right.
Indeed.
All right, everybody's free to go. Let me talk to you real quick, Brian.
Yeah.
One day we'll get heavies of our own.
Our pistol's pretty good, actually, Clarence.
I know, but it ain't no heavy.
Hey, so
Yeah,
what's
definitely
with
not
the
heavy.
stick up your ass?
67723.
Excuse me, you're the one to talk, Brian. What the hell is wrong with you, all right? Brian,
Let's hear it.
ever since the incident took place,
Which incident?
you know what I'm talking about. I think with the chain gang. I don't have to remind you, do I?
I think that incident changed you more than it changed me, quite frankly.
No, absolutely not. I'm
Alright,
still
so
the same. I'm still the same person.
Explain this to me. We got
Brian.
Drader.
Brian. Before we go into that, first of all, I have a problem with you, okay?
All right. Lay it on me.
You want to talk about pulling rank?
What's pulling
Just remember, I'm your goddamn sergeant, okay? Don't ever forget that, Brian.
Oh, I don't know. Apparently it's, based on your actions right now, I mean, forgetting who you are apparently is okay in your book. I mean,
What are you talking about, forgetting who am I? What are you saying, Brian? What are you saying exactly?
well,
I never forgot where I came
Let
from.
me get this straight. So Drader implied this meeting wasn't important after you've called it. And so me calling him out on that for not following your orders is wrong. However, I need to listen to you. So which one is it?
No. I don't have a problem with that. You saying something like that. You saying, oh, what is this rank? An officer? You've been mentioning that a lot.
Is he forgetting he's an officer? You just disobeyed your orders, sir.
Brian.
Did he or did he not?
Brian, first of all, okay.
Yeah.
If there's an issue, I'll solve it myself. Okay. And he got a call for somebody that walked in through Mission PD saying that somebody's dying. Okay. I believe that somebody dying is more important than a 5 to 10 minute debrief. Okay.
So disobey your orders if I think it's the right thing to do.
No, I never said that. I never said everybody to the radio, this is an order, we're having a debrief. I said we're having a debrief. Make your way down to Mission PD. Okay.
So if you say it's an order, then listen to what you're saying, but otherwise do as you choose. Beth, I'm not trying to be difficult here. But
you are being super difficult. You're being absolutely stubborn. You're trying to pick apart everything I'm saying.
No, I'm really not. Beth, from the day that situation occurred, everything that you find different about my actions, you bring into question. But you're not able to back up anything that you're saying in each and every one of those times.
I think
just break this down to me for me, Beth.
Hold on. All right, I'm gonna break down for you.
Right.
Drita should have came here and said, I'm leaving. There's an active situation of somebody potentially dying.
Right.
That would have been the more respectful way of going about it. Okay?
423 taking over.
Right.
As opposed to suggesting me to disobey what you have instructed us to do, and instead go with him.
It's all about communication in the PD, and people like that. People like that big time.
And don't get me wrong, this is not the first time I've seen him go off and do his own dumb shit.
Right.
This happened to me. How are you going to handle this yourself, Bass? You're the sergeant, but I was given a senior officer position for a reason. And when officers are in combat and I am telling them they need to do X, Y, and Z and they disobey, I see that as a problem. The same way that if a cadet were to do something. Let me see. We've got the circumstance 3 days ago in which Mr. Chang and Big D were in custody, and Elgin. We had 4 individuals circling, driving up and down Elgin Avenue, San Andreas, and Vespucci.
Left in the
I wasn't there for that.
I was, well, you don't need to be over there, sir. You're not going to be here all the time, and there's a reason why there's multiple officers with various ranks on duty. Now, as
Correct.
the highest ranking officer at the time, I instructed everybody who followed directions and stuck together as these individuals were circling, and I focused them, and we focused them down together. You know who didn't listen? Drader. He went off to do whatever the fucking thing he wanted and ended up getting shot up. Another circumstance, Mirror Park, in which we had
continuing correct lanes of travel now.
when once again I was the highest ranking officer, took charge of the situation, and we had Drader once again deciding to do his own thing and disregarding what was said over the radio. So excuse me for not pointing out the fact
Brian,
that yeah,
and I appreciate the fact you're telling me this, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying the way you're doing it is wrong, okay?
Which is?
In the train yard.
There needs to be more communication. You need to come talk to me, tell me about these things, okay? Instead of just here in the middle of the meeting pulling rank and saying, what is this rank? No,
I wasn't pulling rank.
it felt like you were.
You know, I think you've been feeling a lot of things lately, Bass, that don't make any sense. I mean,
Brian,
consider
you're the one to talk, okay?
Consider the first thing that you said to me. The first thing you said to me the moment I saved your ass and the rest of the officers just now was, "Where were you, Brian?"
Westbound now, inside the train yard.
Come again? What do you mean by that?
Well, you asked me, "Where were you, Brian? Why did you not come?"
Right, because I don't know that information.
Yeah. Why
Right.
don't you ask what happened? Why was it?
Now,
Where
I
were
asked
you,
what
Brian?
happened.
That's two
I
different
asked-
questions, Bass.
Brian, I asked what happened, or where were you, Brian? It's the same question. Just, you know, said or phrased differently, right?
So why
Why are you taking
curious
umbrage to that?
why are you curious where I was and not the rest of the officers?
I talked to the rest of the officer, and I got their information. They
Continue to run.
spoke.
In the train
Casey was
yard.
by the garage.
He got stuck in a freight.
Sorry, not Valentine. Wrangler and
Back out now.
Perkins and Air One were at the motel on the
So you're
western
telling
side,
me-
and you're on the south side, right?
All right.
Brian. You're saying I changed, okay?
I think you're questioning
If you-
everything
if-
I do, sir.
I'm not. No, absolutely not. I'm not questioning anything, Brian.
He tripped over his shoelace.
Here's the thing about it, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need 52s in the train
The
yard.
past 3 days.
Was I wrong with
Or 2 days?
Valentine?
We're just.
Okay,
between the
I talked to
train
Valentine
yard
about the
and
whole thing.
canals.
He was
No,
wrong
no.
for going off in front of other people. However, it felt like, again, Brian, and there's a pattern taking
Yeah.
place here, is you pulling rank.
When was
somebody
the
else.
rank pulled?
It felt like you can't, according to
When-
Valentine.
when
hold
was
on.
the-
all the awesome content.
According to
Glad be
Valentine-
part
We
of
got
this
52s
awesome
available to
community
come to the train
smile.
yard.
He said it felt like you big dick your way into it. You know, like felt like you took over.
Did
right?
you talk to Wrangler?
I talked to Wrangler. I talked to you. And I talked to
And what did
Valentine.
Wrangler say?
Send for
You said the same thing you said, Brian.
Call will be with you and 2 mics.
All right. So I have a witness as to what took place. However, because it fits this perception in your mind, you're taking Valentine's.
Am I punishing you, Brian? Am I yelling at you right now?
Well, no, but you're saying a lot of stupid shit, sir.
I'm not. Excuse me, Brian. This is
sorry.
the problem. This is the problem right there. Point fucking proven. Your attitude, the way you talk to me.
Bess,
All right.
I am talking to you because I am upset with your behavior. And I'm
Excuse me?
talking to you
What
as a
behavior?
friend right now. Well, I mean, listen.
Oh, now I'm your
Bess,
friend, Brian. Now I'm your goddamn friend.
Yeah.
Now I'm your friend.
Well, if I wasn't your
Yeah,
fucking
okay.
friend, I would fuck off. You think I'm gonna go talk to?
You fucked
I'm gonna
off
go,
today.
I'm
Brian,
gonna go talk to.
you talking about
Go talk
friendship?
to.
You want to talk about friendship?
Yeah, go ahead.
I called you on the radio. I was like, oh, I wonder how Brian's doing after that incident,
Right.
the whole thing, right? And I was like, oh, hey, Brian, how you doing? And you shrugged me off, and you're like,
Well, you know, I could.
is that what you want?
Yeah, and
So
what,
now
what
you
more
pulled
do
a
you
friend
want from
card,
me?
but
What more do you want
they're-
from me, Bass?
I want the Brian that used to respect me.
Well, that Brian still respects you, sir. And if I didn't respect you, I wouldn't have said anything to Trader. I would not even suggested to do a
I don't
meeting
think you
down
respect
here.
me, Brian.
Well, I think you're
Not
looking for a
recently.
different kind of respect, sir.
No. I'm looking at it from a colleague, a friend. That's the angle I'm taking. All right, because I see you as somebody who's close to me, somebody who I care about, and somebody who I respect a lot. That's why I take your opinion and your feedback close to my heart. But I don't know what this is, Brian. I can't even tell you who you, Brian. I can't say that I know you anymore.
Well,
after what happened, you've changed. Okay, I'm gonna say it, damn it. I'm gonna say it, damn it.
And I have changed, Bass.
Yes, you have,
and
Brian.
You know what?
You
Maybe it's for the better.
Is it though? Are you sure about that? I went through every single PD member that usually you are active with on duty, and I asked them,
dude, this is so juicy right now.
I'm sure 90% of them say yes, absolutely, without hesitation, because I don't know you anymore, Brian. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's the thing, Bass. It's my life at the end of the day. And if I think this is what is necessary
hold on a second,
for me
Brian,
to conduct my police work, then it is what it is. But you can't expect me not to be upset when every single move you draw into question the behavior, because in your mind I am that Brian that you remember. In your mind you can't accept the fact that I've changed, and even regardless of what the circumstances, you draw into question my intentions.
Brian, for somebody
when I press you for what exactly it is, you find it hard to explain what exactly the issue is. You're drawing conclusions coming based on what?
Based on facts, Brian. Based on pattern behavior, the way you've been acting recently. And for a guy who's talks about people having attitude and not listening to the chain of command, you act like one, Brian. For sure. Okay.
It doesn't even make sense what you just said. For someone who has a problem with chain of command, how many times have I disobeyed your orders today, sir? How many times have I given you shit in front of other officers? Or Metzger? Or Clarence? Or any other superior?
Brian, your attitude is a problem. Okay.
Okay, so now the attitude's a problem. All right, is that the next one we're attacking? What attitude?
You question everything I do too, Brian. You don't trust me anymore. You don't trust me anymore.
You're questioning me. You are putting like.
Of course, I'm your goddamn.
Consider the fact.
I'm your supervisor, Brian. Right.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Yeah. No shit. You're my supervisor, sir. And
one question is,
and since when does a senior officer not look over a traffic stop like I did with Valentine? Since when?
But hold on a second, Brian. Valentine is a blown police officer, a full-blown police officer.
Yeah.
Who's capable of handling his own. He doesn't need another superior officer to shadow his traffic stop.
313, same traffic.
Who said he was being shadowed? See, this is my point, Bass. There was no shadowing, but in your mind, in this painting that you want to make to try to prove your point that I've changed in some kind of like insane way, you've painted the fact that I've took over the traffic stop when both me and Wrangler gave you exactly what took place, which is with us backing up another officer and him losing his shit.
Let me ask you this, Brian. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How would you feel if you're on a traffic stop and I came in and I start telling the suspects what to do? I took over your crime scene.
Backed it up?
No, I came with an attitude and I told him,
well,
get the fuck back in there, right?
If I told him to get inside the car, I'm not referring to the Casey incident. I'm saying, you're on a traffic stop. I come in and say, I noticed that there's some sort of commotion taking place, or they're wilding out in the car, and I say, get the fuck back in the car. This is my traffic stop now. So going in a direction that was not originally intended.
You're there to support him, have his back.
I will.
And if you have a problem with somebody during an incident as a police officer, you pull them aside. You don't yell at them in front of other officers.
You're right, and that's what Valentine did.
And I talked to him about that. And if I notice any behavior continuing as far as his attitude, the way he lashes out, and if he goes off on somebody, then I'll make sure it's dealt with through strike points or suspensions.
I'm sorry. Are you making a case? I'm confused what your point is.
I am making a case, Brian.
For what?
Because I'm a firm believer in second chances, especially if it's not severe. Okay, so if somebody's got a problem, I pull them aside and I talk to them. That's my approach. Maybe you won't like it. Maybe it's not something that you agree with. However, that's how I do things. If I see somebody doing something wrong, I'll pull them aside and I talk to them.
Yeah.
If they don't learn from that mistake,
which I did with Valentine.
Okay. And if they don't learn from that mistake and they don't improve or show any signs of, doing better,
I don't even understand what your point is anymore, sir.
My point with the whole thing, Brian,
you
is
started
recently
with attitude, but
it is. I felt okay. I'm gonna tell you how I feel, Brian. I'm gonna lay down on this goddamn. What is this? What is this? Projector, right? Is a projector right here? Yes.
Right.
I'm gonna lay down right here, Brian. Right here. Okay. First of all, Brian, ever since the incident, I'm gonna lay off everything. I think you have an attitude. I think you've gotten a bit mouthy, especially toward me.
Well, not towards other officers.
I disagree. Toward me, other officers.
The only time I have ever given an attitude is when someone's done some dumb shit, Bass. Dumb shit number one. Valentine. Right. The only time I've given an officer any attitude today is number one in the case of Valentine, who fucking yelled at both of us in front of.
Was he talked to? Yes or no?
I'm not done, Bass. And the second time was Drader after he directly gave me an order after that conflict with what you said. Now, I can't take you seriously.
And I'm gonna go talk to Drader. I'm gonna go talk to him about that.
I can't take you seriously.
Brian, I can't take you seriously.
If you let me finish my sentence, you'd understand why. I can't take you seriously when in one breath you want me to follow you or whatever. You're a sergeant now, right? And say I gotta follow you, your lead and your orders. But in the same breath, you find it confusing when I expect the same of officers below me, and not to mention the fact that I'm bringing to the attention of what it is that it got done. I mean, I'm just baffled.
Brian, I told you
I can't be upset that Drader suggested skipping the meeting that you called for something that he found important, right? In direct violation of the order you gave, but in the same breath you want orders followed by you. So which one is it?
No, I think you misunderstood what I said, Brian. I think what I said, basically, what Drader did was wrong because he never communicated to the rest of us that there's something going on that's more urgent than a meeting, right? And on top of it, I told you that the facts you brought up, I agree with. However, this is keynote. Bold it, underline it, pay attention to it. It's the way you approach things, the way you try to fix things is the issue. The way you bring it up. Does that make any sense? That's where I have a problem with you, Brian.
All right. Well, give me an example. How did I bring up Valentine? You know how I brought it up? I stopped the conversation with him. I called you over the radio. Did I talk to him after that? I did not. I directed it to you immediately so you could resolve it. Was that right or was it wrong?
You came to me and we talked about it. But according to Valentine, you both were...
According to Valentine.
Okay, according to Valentine, and according to you, actually, in fact, I do recall you saying this, that you both got into it right in front of the suspects. And
we did it. I brought him into the alley. Wrangler can attest to that. In fact, he said as much. See, the problem is, Bass, I think you've made up your mind. And that's where my issue is.
No, I haven't, Brian. I have
Make
not
up
at
your
all,
mind
actually.
going into these conversations as to what took place.
Did you guys get into it right in front of those?
No.
So there was no lashing out or raising the tone of voice in front of the suspects. You did not raise your voice at all.
So he raised his voice. He said a bunch of dumb shit. I pulled him aside into the alley. I whispered while Wrangler kept the others company. And then I did yell at him. I said, what the fuck are you doing saying shit like that in front of civilians and suspects? Wrangler
tried
said the
to-
exact same thing.
You never tried to go in there and try to take over or tell him what to do.
No. Like I said, Bass, I will
Then why am I
explain
getting conflicting stories from Valentine?
because Valentine's a fucking moron. You understand that me and Wrangler came up.
I don't think Valentine's a moron, Brian. I think it's
Well,
very rude.
Well, whatever.
I've never
Whatever.
had issues with Casey. He's always been great.
423 to any available unit.
Listen,
I've
I
got
like
a,
Valentine too.
black
Why
and
he
colored
did it,
Supra,
I got no idea.
plate
Maybe he's
flag,
pissed
any
off
additional.
over something else. But
Starting to go via
regardless,
Holic Avenue, outside the
Wrangler and I
apartments
told you the
back.
exact same thing. There was literally, how did we take over? He asked him to do something. The guy
Well, I
didn't
believe all
comply.
units are tied
We
up
backed him
currently,
up
as
by
well as
literally
economic
reasserting what he
units.
said in a stronger voice.
So you're alone.
In a
If
stronger
Bass,
voice.
if you see, I mean,
Okay,
I mean,
well,
the way you
okay.
say that right
I know
there,
what I'm supposed to
you're
say.
just looking for something.
I'm not looking for anything, Brian. It just feels like recently you've been
It feels
looking down on other people, especially
looking down
officers,
on who?
officers below your rank.
You
And
mean like
don't
Dan?
get me wrong.
You mean like Dan did to
No.
Hunter?
Well, I mean,
Well, give me an example then.
Brian, I don't have an example. It's just the vibes
Yeah,
I'm getting
exactly.
from
You
you.
don't because it hasn't
It's just
happened.
based on what you're telling me and the things I've seen so far, as far as being on shift with you. Okay, I don't have like a pinpoint example. I'm just saying, based on my experience, what I saw is, I feel like you're pulling rank, and your attitude, you're getting very mouthy.
See, now you're just making up
very-
shit.
I'm not making up shit, Brian. Okay,
So then, how do you not have an example?
Brian, the way you treat me is an example of much of an attitude and mouthy you get. You show me
Bass,
absolutely
I'm
no
just
respect.
being open with you.
Are you, Brian? Are you really?
What do you think this is? Why would I, Bass? Why would I pull you aside and have this conversation? I could have very much just been like, "Yes, sir," and then fucked off for the night.
No, I know what you're trying to do, Brian. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. I don't know. That's how I feel, Brian. I'm just telling you as a friend, as a colleague. This is supposed to be a goddamn brotherhood, all right? Where we have each other's backs no matter what, right?
Bass, I think you need to accept me for who I was. You told me as much the other day. And
I'm trying, Brian. I'm trying.
Even today, Bass, the first reaction you have is to find me guilty. And then you
No.
can't even back up your bullshit.
See, here's the problem. You're calling it bullshit.
It is.
You don't even believe me. You don't believe me, Brian.
Believe
but
what?
I'm supposed to
Bass, there's been
believe how
two
I
incidents.
fucking feel,
There's
Brian,
been
about
two
you, okay?
fucking incidents with you, Bass, today. Two incidents, and neither of those cases can you even come to admit that something was done wrong. You're looking for something. You're just looking for it. I mean, look at the fact that two incidents, Valentine, Drader, in both cases you admit I'm right, but you keep circling back to saying the same thing.
I'm saying is there was definitely disrespect to chain of command and orders, right? And the way it was dealt with. However, the way it was brought up and the way it was supposed to be talked about was not.
What,
okay?
in the Drader case?
Yeah. Saying, oh, what rank is he? I've been seeing him have a lot of in front of everybody else and a cadet right there, too, Brian.
What? And then what? Responding with, it seems like you've been pulling rank? Well, like, I'm sorry.
Because, Brian, it's
What,
not the
bullshit with
place.
bullshit?
There's a time and place for everything, and I felt that was not the place for it. Okay, we're having a debrief. If you have an issue with an officer, we can talk about it in the lower office or the captain's office.
You didn't
like we
seem
always
to
do.
lead by example then, did you?
Excuse me? This is it. Are you serious?
Do you not see my point?
You know what, Brian? I tried. I really fucking tried. Okay? You're suspended for the rest of the night. Go forward, too.
I'll take a couple days off. You take care, Bass. You know, I gotta say, Bass, if you're gonna lose an argument, at least have something to teach back instead of sending bullshit.
Brian. Brian, get back over here. It feels like I lost more than just an officer on duty tonight.
Yeah. Bass, you
Feels
know what
like I lost a friend.
You know what I'm disappointed with, Bass? You made the decision to suspend me before we even had the conversation.
It's not true at all.
Well, if that wasn't the case,
Maybe this suspension will help you clear your head, Brian, because you have some serious issues going on.
you know what I think it is, Bass? I think it's an ego issue.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've never had an ego, Brian. I don't let rank or titles get to my head.
Well, I think it did. I think you just don't realize it yet.
That's your opinion, Brian.
Yep, it is. You take care.
Have a good night.
Dude, I freaking love this. $495.42. Have a good night. Dude, that was so fucking good. That was so fucking good, dude. You pulled his body out of an active. Yeah. I think so. The way I think Brian's gonna be looking at that is, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out over the next couple days. Oh, dude, the RP's been so good, homie. It's been so good. It's been so good.